Good morning, this is Rob from GRAF and we're back with trend number 4. If you remember, over the last few weeks we've been doing a series of trends in African economic environment and the development that's happening there. We've done trend 1 to 3 and this week it's trend number 4. So trend number 4, what is it all about? Well, it's coming closer to my own heart. And it's about Africa's untapped resources, the wealth and physical wealth in Africa that's there for development and will need to be developed as the population of Africa grows. Start off with something close to my heart, farming and food production. Africa has 60% of the world's arable land, and a lot of that potential is untapped and undeveloped. If you remember, we talked about the fact that over 80% of Africa's population are rural dwellers and are often subsistence farmers. Take Nigeria. Nigeria alone has 30 million individual farmers. 90% of the food produced in Nigeria comes from those 30 million farmers, and they're farming 80 million acres of land. But Nigeria still imports £6 billion worth of food every year because the productivity is so beneath the requirement. There's a social enterprise that's operating very successfully in Nigeria called Babangona, and it has managed to increase the output of the farmers they're working with by 100%. They've doubled the output. That's increased the farmers' income by 3.5 times. But they've got a long way to go. They've only been working with 20,000 farmers in Nigeria, and their aim is to increase that to 1 million farmers. And that will make a massive difference to Nigerian food output and the balance of trade and the amount of food they're having to import. There's also opportunities for commercial ag. It's not just about building up the productivity of those subsistence farmers, because as we talked about, the balance of people living in rural Africa and living in cities is going to change. There's going to be more and more people working in the cities in manufacturing and commerce and retail, and fewer people out on the farms producing food. And there is opportunities for commercial agriculture. Already there's a Japanese trading house called Mitsui has got involved in the cashew nut industry in Africa because of the opportunities for growth. Also Mars, the American snack food company, they're heavily involved in Africa as well, mainly in West Africa, because of course, 70% of all the chocolate in the world, the raw material comes from West Africa. It's calculated that Africa's cereal output could increase fourfold just to meet the domestic demand and provide a little bit for export. That would improve agricultural incomes to the tune of $100 billion a year. The issue with the subsistence farmers is 85% of all farmers in Africa are operating on plot sizes of less than 5 acres. It's difficult to get efficiencies and economies of scale with that sort of distribution of land. Compare that to Brazil, another country that's lagging world development. But in Brazil, only 11% of farmers are operating on plots of less than 5 acres. There's been many calculations of the capital required to develop sub-Saharan Africa's agriculture, but one figure that a lot of people have landed on is $50 billion need invested just to bring sub-Saharan Africa up to speed and up to scale and make Africa self-sufficient in food production currently, never mind the expansion required in the future. Moving out of agriculture, another opportunity we have identified is energy. There's massive demand for energy in Africa, both in the form of electricity and fuel for heating, cooking, and running electrical appliances. But also, there's a massive demand, and it's linked to agriculture, for agricultural fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer. To produce synthetic nitrogen fertilizer takes enormous amounts of gas. This little illustration here shows the electricity producing options available: wind, solar, there's oil, there's offshore gas in Mozambique. All of that will need to be harnessed to produce a balanced power system in Africa. Africa has 15% of the world's population, but only uses 3% of its world's energy. It is estimated that Africa, if it brought its gas reserves into use, could use 70% of that gas just to supply domestic consumption for power generation, for tertiary industries, so fertilizer manufacture, and for cooking and heating. Take mining. A lot of people associate mining with Africa, and a lot of African countries are dependent, their economies are dependent on mining. But Africa is way behind with developing its mining sector. Compared to the OECD nations, it's thought that Africa has only discovered 20% of its mineable commodities, its mineable assets. Indeed, in 2018, a British mining company discovered the 5th largest diamond in the world. It was 910 carats and sold for over 40 million US dollars. But it's not just gold and it's not just diamonds. There's all sorts of hard commodities and commodities that are available for mining in Africa that are required for the world's future economic growth in computers and electronics. Vanadium, manganese, fertilizers like phosphate, platinum, cobalt, lithium, they're all available in Africa, and a lot of them are undiscovered, and a lot of them are crucial for the future world's economy. You'll have noticed a trend in all this. It's all about domestic demand. There is massive current domestic demand in Africa for all these things. And there is also going to be massive growing domestic future demand in the export market as electronics and computers develop in our lives and develop in the world economy. But it's the domestic demand that needs to be met now and in the future as Africa's economy grows and population grows, that's going to be the main driver in the development of trend number 4. Anyone would like to comment, just post below or drop me a private message. Thanks for now. And next week, we'll be moving on to trend number 5, the final trend in our series of economic growth in Africa. Look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye.